You are watching Sammy the Interviewing Toucan, made possible by the Indiana Young Readers Center. Hey, everybody. I'm Sammy, and I'm so excited to be here today with Matthew Graham. Hi, Matthew.
Hi there.
How are you today?
I'm well, thank you.
That's wonderful. I'm so excited to talk to you. I'm talking to a lot of poets laureates this summer, and I was just wondering if we could start out. Could you tell me a little bit about yourself and your connection to Indiana?
Yes, sure. Well, as you said, I'm Matthew Graham. I'm from the East Coast originally, from upstate New York is where I grew up. I came to Indiana. I've lived here for almost 40 years now. I came for a job to teach at the University of Southern Indiana, where I taught literature and creative writing for 35 years. I recently retired. And I've been the Poet Laureate of Indiana for this is my third and last year as Poet Laureate.
Oh, wonderful. I guess this is a little off the record, but do you know Margaret McMullen?
Of course, I know Margaret.
Ah,
She taught at the other university here in
oh,
Evansville.
yeah, that's right. We know her at the state library because she's also an Indiana author, and she
Right.
actually has supported some of our programs for kids. So, hooray! I guess all you Evansville folk sort of run in the same circles, huh?
We did until she left town,
Right.
which I'm still mad at her for doing.
We'll have to send her this video, and I'm sure her ears are burning. Well,
Hear that.
Matthew, tell us a little bit about being Poet Laureate of Indiana. So, you're our current Poet Laureate. When did you
Yes.
become the Poet Laureate?
2020. And right when COVID started, which was kind of bad timing,
Ooh.
because my plans were to travel around the state and meet as many people as I could, meet with all the different arts councils, try to visit all 92 counties. And I was basically offering my services out there to anybody that needed me to give readings or talks or judge contests or whatever they felt they needed. Unfortunately, COVID started. And so that shut down my plans for about a year and a half, almost 2 years, which is why I'm still Poet Laureate, because the Arts Commission was kind enough to give me some extra time to try to make up the time I lost.
That makes a
And
ton
so,
of sense.
yeah, it does. And so this year I've been especially busy doing a lot of the traveling that I wanted to do initially. But I'll be done at the end of December, and then they'll have a new poet laureate.
Have you been to all 92 counties?
I've been close, not quite, but almost. And like I said, this fall I'm going to do a lot of catching up. Things are kind of slow in the summertime right now,
Sure.
but I've got some things arranged for the fall, and I don't know if I'll ever hit all 92, but hopefully.
Something to strive for.
Yeah, right, absolutely.
What has been your favorite part about being Poet Laureate?
Well, getting away from Indianapolis in a way, is getting to the small towns and communities around the state, talking to libraries and things like that, and that's been very, very enjoyable. And I like the fact that I'm from Evansville. It's the very south of the state. Seems more like Kentucky than Indiana in some ways. And I think this part of the state has not necessarily been ignored, but kind of cut off from at least the main scene in Indianapolis. And so I'm glad I'm from here and I'm able to bring that with me when I travel. But mainly it's the small communities that I've really enjoyed going to and talking to people. And they seem extremely appreciative.
Sure, yeah. I know that as a library bird, I've been to lots of libraries in Indiana, and it's always so inspiring to me to see the kind of work that does get done in rural communities as far as literary arts go, because sometimes
Mhm.
those little towns really have it going on. I read in your bio that you've done a lot of work in New Harmony. New Harmony is such an interesting community.
Oh, it's a fascinating place. Yeah, I'm very committed to New Harmony. It's about 30 miles from where I live, but I spend a lot of time out there. And my wife has done a lot of volunteer work. Her name's Katie Waters. She also just retired from the University of Southern Indiana, and she's been involved with the foundation, the Arts Foundation out there. And so we're quite involved with that community, and it's a fascinating place. And if you haven't been there, one should go.
Yes, for sure. Now, I know that you are not a poet specifically for children, and kids may or may not watch this video. I know a lot of grown-ups tend to watch my videos, But I was wanting to know if you think that reading poetry is good for kids, or when do you think people should start reading poetry in their lifetime?
I think poetry is just natural to the human condition at a very young age. I mean, kids love to play with language. Nursery rhymes, jump rope songs. I mean, kids are constantly playing with language and making language up, and so I think it's never too early to read poetry to children. They just love to. It's like art. All kids love to draw. And at a certain age, it's kind of knocked out of them for some reason, or they're told, "Well, that's not what a horse looks like," and they give up when what they were doing was wonderful stuff. And I think the same thing's true of language. Kids write amazingly interesting things because it's all still new and fresh to them. The language isn't worn out yet. So I think
That's,
at any age.
yeah, that's so true. Do you have a poem there today that you want to share with us?
I do, and it is from a series I've written as poet laureate called the Indiana series, and they're all little poems, and they're connected in that the subject matter are people that have some connection to Indiana, mainly writers and artists, but occasionally I throw in a couple other people into the mix. And this is a book that should be out, I hope, in August, and I'll make sure that the library gets a copy.
Wonderful.
And the poem I'm going to read is not about, well, he's an artist, but he's not a visual artist. He's an actor. And it's a poem about the actor James Dean. And he grew up in a small farming community called Fairmont, Indiana, which is about halfway between Indy and Fort Wayne. He died very young in a car accident and is buried there. And I thought students, if they don't know who James Dean was, it would be a good opportunity for them to do some research because he's probably one of the most iconic popular culture figures of at least the 20th century. He's up there, I think, with Marilyn Monroe and Elvis Presley. In fact, many times you see them together on posters.
Mm-hmm.
He only made 3 movies, but he's still this iconic image of the kind of sulky teenager with the slick back hair and the cigarette hanging out of the corner of his mouth. Very cool guy. Um,
Totally.
yeah, so this poem is about visiting his grave, and it's just called Fairmont. James Dean's grave sits in a muddy and slightly shabby cemetery outside of Fairmont and is littered still with dying roses and smudged lipstick kisses on this late February afternoon. In town, there's a small museum and gift shop where you can find the leather jacket with its turned up collar, his shrug to the world, his high school basketball uniform, the yearbook photos of his nearsighted sneer, his girlish smile. The casket was closed at the service. Elizabeth Taylor sent flowers. It seems that to be immortal in America is to die young and beautiful in California, and then be brought back to the rich and anonymous soil only central Indiana can provide. So that's my James Dean poem.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing that. I've actually been to Fairmount, and yeah, it's just
It's
it's a great,
strange.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
very
it's a
strange.
great little town. It was featured in a video by a musician. Can't think of who it was.
Yeah.
Morrissey? I think it was Morrissey.
Uh-huh. Wow.
Yeah, I'll link to it if I can.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Matthew, thank you so much for sharing the poem and thanks so much for chatting with me today.
Absolutely.
This has been your favorite Hoosier Toucan, reminding you to read local. So long. Bye, Matthew.
Bye-bye. See you later.